Brand disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed by individuals on this platform, the callers plus invited guests, are their own. The information you hear does not reflect the overall views of all parties associated with this brand. We encourage everyone to research all things heard live or via archive for edification purposes. Discretion is advised.
Hi, it's your girl Chris, the host of Let's Talk Podcast. Let's Talk Podcast focuses on issues that affect our community. Through conversation, we hope to understand other perspectives in order to come up with real solutions that will create a better community for our children. According to kidscount.org, 66% of Black children are being raised in single parent households. And according to Equal Justice, EJI.org, Black children are 5 times more likely to end up incarcerated compared to their white counterparts. Only 67% of children will graduate from high school that comes from a single parent household, according to marriagepedia.org. Let's Talk podcast will focus on trying to keep families together. We have a range of topics we discuss, from failing marriages to cleaning up our community. Let's Talk podcast meets every Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We urge you to join the conversation. All you have to do is dial 774 290 2200. 774 290 2200. It'll prompt you to enter a conference ID, which will never change: 152002. 152002. Again, Let's Talk Podcast meets every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you'd like to reach us, you can reach us on Twitter at Let's Talk Podcast. You can also reach us on Instagram, Let's Talk _ period podcast. And we also have a Facebook page, Let's Talk Podcast. And if you're interested in adding to the conversation or being on the show, even if you want to share issues that are plaguing your community, please reach out to us at Let's Talk Podcast 55 at gmail.com. That's Let's Talk Podcast 55 at gmail.com. Again, we meet every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm looking forward to talking to you. Okay, hello. Welcome to Let's Talk Podcast. So my podcast is called Let's Talk Podcast. I am your host, Christina, but you can call me Chris. That's what my friends call me. That's what my family calls me. Everybody calls me Chris. First and foremost, I want to let everyone know that I'm so thankful and grateful that you made time out of your busy schedule in order to be here today and to support what God has put on my heart. Before I introduce our special guest on the panel, I would like to let everyone know the rules of the room, which is no foul language. And no matter what, we are to always have respect for one another. We may not agree. We may have different ideas about things, but we must have respect. The point of discussion: why are marriages falling apart? Why are marriages failing? The reason for this topic is because at the end of the day, the one who suffers in a divorce truly are the children. And the children are our future, and they make up our communities, and they are a reflection of us as a people. And even if we have no children, we are making and breaking covenants that we've made with our spouses and with God. Now, the format of the show is we have several people on the panel that will be discussing today's topic. I'll have several questions throughout the conversation. Halfway through, we'll have the audience an opportunity. We'll give the audience an opportunity to ask any questions or to give any comments that they like. All you have to do is hit *5 in the audience, and that's how I know you're ready to ask questions. Please do not hit *5 now unless you are going to be one of the special guests on the panel. Otherwise, you're going to be up here, and we're going to be asking you some questions, okay? Without further ado, let's go through our panel. What I want you guys to do for my panel, I just want you to give us a brief introduction of who you are. If you feel comfortable enough giving your marital status, whether you're single, divorced, or married, I'm only asking that because we're trying to get different perspectives. We're trying to see, what do single people see? What do married people see? What do divorcees see? What have they been through? That's why we want to get that. So if you're able to introduce yourself, give us your status if you feel comfortable, and then also just let us know a little bit about yourself. If you have any type of social media, or YouTube channels or shows or anything at all that you want to share for the people, I suggest that you do it, because we're all trying to learn and grow. So the first person that we're going to start with Sister Abanicia. If you like, you have the floor to give us a brief introduction of yourself.
Oh, hi. I'm Abanicia Lomson. I am a divorcee. I've been divorced recently, so you guys, I don't mind you guys knowing my status. But was there any other thing they wanted to know about me before y'all go to the next person? Because I only heard, status.
So that's about you want to share anything with anybody? I don't know if you have any social medias, anything. I don't know if you're working on any projects. If not, then for sure we can go on to the next special guest.
Yeah, you can check my Instagram out at Empress_Yuri. That's EURY. It's the upcoming developing podcast system that we're working on. So that's it for me, and a pleasure meeting you guys, and thank you for coming out and listening.
Thank you, Avanicia. Thank you. The next
Yes. And thank you for having me, Sister Christina, because she's so awesome, and I love her.
No problem. I love you too. The next one we have is Ron. You have the floor.
All right. Yeah, I'm Ron, and I'm married. I've been married for over 10 years, so about 11 years, and yeah, that's about it.
You don't have any social media pages you want to let out? Any projects you working on? Anything at all?
No, not now. I don't want to share that. At least not yet.
Okay. All right. Okay. The next sister we have is Sister Judith. You can introduce yourself.
Shalom, shalom. My name is Judith. I was divorced in the world. I was married and divorced in the world over 20 years ago. I married, I think about 5-6 years ago in the truth. We were both just coming into the truth, and unfortunately that did not work out. The Most High did put him away, and I am very, very grateful for what transpired after that. And that was about 3-4 years ago, I would say. So I'm single. Yeah, I'm single. I have been very, very blessed. And the stories I tell you. So I am very open. I am very transparent. I don't mind sharing my stories with anyone if it'll help or bless them. And with that, I yield.
Thank you. Next up, thank you, Judith, for sharing that. I'm glad you're here, because so far we have a younger divorcee, we have a married man, and then we also have you who have been married and divorced, but it has been several years, and now you're single. So I'm liking the different perspectives we have going on. Next up, we have Brother Stanley. Go ahead and introduce yourself and any information you want to share with the people. I can't hear him. Let me see. Say that again, Brother Stanley. We couldn't hear.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Perfect.
All right. I just want to say shalom to the room. Shalom to everyone. May God bless your family, your finances, and your health. Yes, my name is Stanley Sylvain. I have a ministry called Sin No More Ministries. I'm also affiliated with Absolute Bible Truth, with the head teacher, Brother Josh. And, of course, Sister Christina is one of our sisters in the faith as well. And I've been married and divorced and remarried. And in my second marriage, we've been married 18 years now. And we have 3 children. My 3 children are with my current wife. I had no children with the first one. And I'm happily married, and we're constantly looking for things to help keep the marriage going and keep the happiness going, and that's all. That's what matters to us. We definitely are married in the Lord and in the Word, and we do believe in the Most High. We worship together as a family. We sing together. We pray together. We eat together. So yes, we're a family of 5, and you can always look me up on YouTube. I've done multiple debates and lessons. You can look me up. My name is Stanley Sylvain. It's spelled Sylvain. You can look me up on Facebook and request me to be a friend, and I would gladly accept it. And you can also, if you go in Clubhouse, you can find me on there as well. All right. Hope to hear from you all soon, and I hope to enjoy this discussion, this important discussion, actually. All right. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, Stanley. I'm like really loving the panel tonight because we have a lot of like different perspectives. We got a lot of different life experiences. So Stanley was married before, got divorced, and now he's married again. He has children, family of 5. That's a big family. We are a big family as well. We have 7 children, and we're married with 7 kids. So we have a big family. So I know, you kind of understand what we're going through. So thank you so much for that. And you guys check him out. I've listened to his brother over the years, and he's one of the most humble, just meek brothers that you guys can ever meet. He's always willing to help anybody when he can. He's always just a call away. So definitely, if you guys hear something that you like tonight, or even later, if you want to just go check him out, I suggest all of you guys definitely go do that. Now, I know that we had Deacon. I think this is him. Deacon, is this you? Is it a 351 number? Is that you? 351-863. 351-863.
That's 315. That's Ariel. That's me.
Oh, okay, yes. Oh, you're here, Ariel. Yes, that's what I was waiting for. I'm so glad you're here. Perfect. So Ariel is another one that's on our panel. So Ariel, if you want, you can introduce yourself. I'm not sure. You pretty much was hearing what everyone was doing. If you feel comfortable enough to share your status, we'll appreciate it. Introduce yourself. And if you have any projects, anything at all that you want to share with the people, this is the time to get it out there. So the floor is yours.
Shalom, shalom. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. All praise to the Most High. I just switched over to my headset, so I just wanted to make sure that I was loud and clear. So with that being said, my name is Ariel, and I've been married for 5 years. I have 3 daughters, 7 years old, 9 years old, and 1 year old. I've been with my wife for 10. We've been married for 5. And I'm an entrepreneur, motivational speaker, life coach, and published author. I have 2 books that I've written, one titled The Student Success Mindset and one titled Remember This, 101 Life-Changing Sayings to Help You Maintain Motivation and Relieve Stress. I also am a content creator on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, where you can catch daily posts about entrepreneurship, personal and professional development. And today my main goal is to help inspire couples to take on personal development together, because I believe one of the main keys that keep a happy and successful relationship is when each other grows and shares that experience with each other. And I believe we can definitely decrease the marriage divorce rate if we focus on personal growth, personal development, as well as our spiritual development as we grow in Christ, as we grow in the Word, as we are believers, and we continue to grow in our faith. God will continue to keep us together. So with that being said, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at Ariel Inspires. And for my biblical teaching, spiritual development is Ariel ABT. That's capital ABT, Ariel ABT for Absolute Bible Truth. So thank you for allowing me to be here today. I appreciate everybody on the call, and I'm looking forward to a great conversation. Peace.
Thank you, thank you. We got some heavy hitters in the building. Man, we gonna get blessed tonight. I feel it. We got some heavy hitters in the building. Thank you, Ariel. I appreciate it. This man he's another good brother. Y'all definitely, trust me, check him out. Check his information out. Before we close out, any of you guys want to revisit, they want to put their information out there again, we definitely want that to happen because it's very important that we get each other's information out there. It's so much work these brothers are doing and these sisters are doing, and a lot of people don't know about it, and it can help so many people. And that was the point of me wanting to start this podcast in the first place. It's truly to try to heal our people, help our people, and I felt like marriage was one of the first things that we needed to just attack head first. So just in case no one didn't know, we'll go over it one more time. Go over hold on, I got a hand raised. I think this might be because I've been waiting for him to come in. Okay, I just let you in. Is that the deacon? I'm not sure if that's you.
No, it's me, sis. Victory.
Oh, hey, Victory. Okay, perfect. All right, sorry about that. So do you want to be on the panel tonight? You want to be a part of the conversation? You want to listen? What you want to do? That it's up to you.
I want to introduce myself like everybody else did, and I want to be on, of course.
No problem.
He said, I don't want to be excluded.
No, we weren't trying to make people don't feel special. It's just that the people that were on the panel, the ones that was going to have the dialogue, answering the questions and just sharing their experiences, and anyone that had questions coming later. But you are welcome to. So go ahead, girl. You got the floor. Go ahead.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is having an amazing day. I am having an amazing day. I'm currently on the road right now, making my way to California. I'm a truck driver. My name is Victory Elohim. Okay, you guys can look me up on Instagram, victory.elohim. And on Facebook, I go by the name, I got to look to see. Okay, Paradise, Elohim, Victory. So Paradise and Elohim is together, and then Victory separate, if you guys want to add me on Facebook. So I want to say about the marriage thing, I want to say I was legally married the first time, but it wasn't like a real, like, I don't want to say it wasn't a real marriage. It wasn't consummated. It was basically a setup marriage that my family just, you know what I'm saying, was trying to guy, get his paperwork, and he did just say, hey, you gonna marry him? So boom, boom, marry him. And that's not something I wanted to do, but I was young, they did it, and that's what it was. But that's all it was. And then eventually I divorced him, and then I got married legally with, I got married again. So, with that being said, I'm not sure exactly what the foundation of marriage is because the reason why I say that is because back in the Old Testament or even before the Old Testament, how was marriage arranged? You know what I'm saying? Was there witnesses there, or you just got together with somebody, had kids, and that was your husband, or your wife? No, I don't really know. So in this case, I myself feel like marriage is a covenant between you and your significant partner under God. I don't know if there has to be witnesses or anything like that, judging by our forefathers. I don't know, but I think if a man and a woman come together and make an agreement, a covenant under God, then that is marriage. That's just my feeling. I don't think that having witnesses or even going to the courthouse and making it legal is necessary because it's a spiritual covenant with the Lord. And I am a mother to 7 beautiful, amazing children, and I am definitely single, okay? So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you, thank you. Yes. Okay, you guys. So that's Victory. She gave her information out. And I don't know if one of you brothers or sister, I don't know, one of you guys want to answer her question now. You want to save it for later. I don't know, Brother Stanley, Ariel, Brother Ron, any of you guys want to tackle her question about marriage? Like what is it really as far as like the biblical standpoint is? If you want to tackle one of you guys.
I think she's definitely right. I think the biblical aspect, as if a man and woman come together and they have witnesses, and as well as they make a covenant, they're gonna come together and they're gonna be together, and they make a promise before God. I believe that is a covenant, and you don't have to go to the government. It is good because of insurance purposes and as well things like as if maybe you might pass away. It is good because those benefits like that. But yeah, I think she's correct, as in you don't need the court. And I'm not saying I'm against it or anything like that, but I believe she's actually right on that part. That's my take on it.
All right, Stanley, you want to tackle that?
What I was going to ask is, I think she went more than court. She said witnesses. I want to make sure I get her correct. It's like whether it's outside of the court, is she saying that there's supposed to be no witnesses at all? Like it's just that two people come together in a room and it'll just be those two individuals and then they're talking to God, or are they supposed to be family and others around as well, like part of the union? Because my brother there addressed the court part, but I think she said more than that. Or is that what she meant when she said witnesses? I would like to know what the thought.
Can you clarify on that? Can you clarify on that, Victory? Victory, you there? Okay.
I know she's driving right now, right? I know she's driving.
All right, so we'll save that. We'll save that for later. So she did say
well,
that.
Let me see if I could.
Yeah, she mentioned.
Yeah.
Do you have? What she said was, she said she doesn't believe that we have to have witnesses or go to the courthouse. It's a covenant between the significant other and God. That's what she.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that's interesting. I know when the Bible discussed marriage, outside of the Adam and Eve experience, there was not necessarily a marriage there, yet they were married. However, should there be a marriage? That's another question that we have to ask. But I know when Jacob married his wives, it was done, at their home, at the home of, and there was a feast involved and things like that. You know what I mean? So I don't see there's an actual criteria. So I guess it's, I could be wrong about that, but I'm looking into it as
Can I jump in there, Stanley?
Oh, go ahead, jump in.
Okay, cool. I'm not sure what happened, but my hand got put down. So, but now I'm back. So thank God for that. And when it comes to marriage, according to the scriptures, right? The parents were the witnesses. It wasn't kosher, or it wasn't right in the eyes of the Most High for men and women to go out and sleep with each other and then come back home married. We have examples in the scriptures of where that is a defiling the father's home if you don't have his permission to marry his daughter. So there is a standard in which Israel practices marriage, and that standard is the man comes to the family and he pays for the daughter, the dowry, and if the father agrees, then it is so, and the marriage is consummated that way. And those witnesses are the families, because if there was no witnesses when the travelers would come in and out of the city, they would not know that this woman or this man belongs to someone already, and that will cause more, the land could be defiled if there's people sleeping around, coming in from town. They don't know, if nobody knows who's married and nobody knows who each other belongs to. So when it comes to the Old Testament, the standard is, like the sister said, the covenant between man and woman, but it is also the witnesses are the parents and the family of that marriage. They know when their children is married, and they also let the villages know that there is a wedding with a feast and celebration as well. So that's the standard that Israel practices. And
Praise
that being
God.
said, I'll land right there.
Praise God. Can you hear me?
That was
Can anybody
good,
hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yes.
hear you. That's victory. So you got your answer.
Yes.
You got the answer?
Yes, brother. Thank you so much. You answered my question. Oh, my God. You just don't know how long I've been going back and forth with this. Thank God, man. God bless this call right here and everybody upon it. Let me tell you guys something. You know what you just said right now? You said like this, the last brother that was just talking, saying like this, the witnesses are the parents, you know, and I've read this before in the Bible, but you know, when you don't really go, when you don't like go into the Bible like how you was, eventually it's stored in your subconscious, but you need it to be brought back out again. So just the simple fact that you answered that question, it made perfect sense to me, because when I got married to my second husband, there was no witnesses there. That my parents was not there to give me away, and I think that's the reason why I went through so much with this guy. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't honored in God's name. It wasn't a covenant. It was just something I did and something he went and did, and we thought that it was blessed and it was by the hand of God, and it was not. And you know one thing that God does? God speaks to you through he's Go ahead. Somebody was saying something?
No, I think that was background noise. Go ahead, finish.
Oh.
Yeah, that was not
okay.
us. That was not us.
Oh, okay. One thing I wanted to say, God has shown me a dream that He separated me from this man, and I could not fathom or understand, because I was so in love with him, and I really felt like I was doing things the right way, because we went to the courthouse, we got married, I got my marriage license, you know what I'm saying? But it was havoc after havoc after havoc, and now that this brother just came on the line and answered the question, thank you. I'm delivered in the name of Jesus. Praise the Lord. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. I'm glad that he was able to answer that question for you. See, that's why we're having this. You know, it seemed like she had a lot of stress on her chest, and for him to come and basically break it down real quick what the scriptures teach, that was a blessing. So thank you, brother, so much. I appreciate you coming. See, that's why I'm glad you're here tonight. You see what you're doing? Look at you. Look at you.
If I may?
All praises.
Yes.
Hello?
Praise God. Thank you, Brother Ariel. If I may?
Yes, Judith. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to share my experience with the second man that I married. When I first came to the truth, he brought me information that he didn't want to go through the courts because he didn't want to exclude the Most High. Long story short, the way we did it is we called around and we found a particular person who was familiar with the Hebrew customs but was ordained. And so he performed the ceremony. We did have witnesses. Now, he didn't have his parents because they had passed on, and my parents lived too far, and it was just too short notice the moment we decided to make the decision of getting married and how we were going to get married. And so we performed the ceremony with witnesses. He wrote the vows for us. So we spoke the vows in front of the witnesses before the Most High, and then we signed and filled out. I don't know if anyone's familiar with this, but there's the contract. The only word I can think of is contract behind the older versions of Bibles. And it was very difficult for us to find the Bible, but we did. And we signed that we all of us did, all the witnesses and everyone, including ourselves. And so with that, we were supposed to go down and have it registered so that it would be legal according to the state without having to go to the courthouse. And because of the way we did it, we never defiled ourselves until we were married. Of course, we consummated the marriage after, but we thought we were following every single step the way the Most High would have wanted us to do it. So we were honoring him. The big difference for me, and I think it would not have failed, but the big difference in our situation was that shortly after, because we're just coming into the truth, he started veering way out in left field with some doctrine that had absolutely nothing to do with me. And it started excluding me within the marriage. He started to see me as a Gentile, as not his wife. And he started having issues and just different problems. And he attributed it to being married to me. Instead of looking at the fact that he wasn't honoring the marriage, basically he was blaming me for the issues he was having. Now, I learned a lot in that marriage. I learned a lot about heavy-duty praying. I learned a lot about fasting. You know, I learned that the Most High will answer your prayers. He answered multiple, and he blessed me in multiple ways. So I think the key is to have him first and center, 360 degrees. That way he can cover you the whole 24/7, the 365 days out of the year. And to be honest, I think that is the only reason that I was spared and saved. Because although it hurt me when he up and decided to leave and abandon, it hurt me more thinking I had done something to insult my Creator, my Father, for the failure in this marriage. I did something. And it took a long time in prayer to ask him, well, Father, can you provide the scriptures for me to know what I did wrong, what I do to correct it, what I do to rectify the situation, and for him to forgive me. And it took a long time, but he answered it right away. And then I prayed again to confirm the verses that I received, to make sure I wasn't leaning on my own understanding. So it was a long process in that sense, but he answered me right away. He provided people, both men, women, and married couples, to confirm the verses that he had given me, plus a few extra. And then on top of that, after that, I still prayed more. I said, I'm sorry I'm bugging you. I just want to make sure that I didn't offend you. I want to make sure that I'm blaming this before you in regards to this marriage. If you can give me peace. At that point in time, I was just worried I offended him, that I offended my father somehow. And it was the last thing I wanted to do in my life. So I asked him, if I have not offended you and I have done nothing wrong in this marriage, please give me peace of mind. That's all I wanted, and that was just my confirmation. And within the hour, family, I tell you, the Most High blesses and he answers your prayer, because within the hour, I received peace, and I've had peace since. Praise Yah.
Praise God. That's a great testimony. Thank you, Sister Judah. But Aria, that's exactly what you did with this sister. You heard what she said. It was people coming to her and different situations happening. So God definitely used you tonight to help her have a better understanding. And I hope that she goes and continues to study the subject. And I'm glad that you were able to give this sister some relief, because God does use people. So all glory to God that he was able to allow this to happen tonight. So if anything happened, that happened, I feel good. I feel like, all glory to God. I feel great. So with that being said, let's get into the show. Now that everybody has introduced themselves, we're going to go over a couple of statistics. And the reason I'm going over this is because a lot of times, I'm going to give you an example. For example, when people talk about abortions, right? They try and say that I should have a right to get an abortion because it's my body. And sometimes they use things like, what if a young child was to get, the R word? I don't want to say the whole word. The R word happened to a young child, and she was to get pregnant.
Hey, you can say the word. You can say the word grape.
The grape. Okay, let's say a teenager got grape, and she was pregnant, And they would say, see, she should have a right to go and get an abortion. You're going to force her to give birth to a man that raped her and she's a child. And they use these type of narratives to try and get you to feel bad somehow, as if your stance is wrong. Oh my goodness, I don't want to force a young child that got raped to have to birth the child of the person that raped her. But a lot of times when they do this, it's a very small percentage of women that are getting abortions that got raped. Like a very small percentage. So you're taking something that isn't even applying to the issue today. Not that I'm saying it doesn't matter, but the majority of women that is, going to get abortions, they didn't get raped, okay? So don't use that. And that's the idea I want to go with about this marriage. I know that everybody have different stories and different things, and we can address those things, but I want us to kind of tackle the meat of the matter. What are the majority saying? What are the majority suffering with? Because that's what we're trying. We're trying to deal with the meat, and then later we can deal with the residue of that. So I hope you guys can understand the way that I'm going with this. So the statistics that I looked up was the CDC said that this year, 630,505 people have filed for divorce. So 630,000 in the United States, and that's only 45 reported states in the United States of America. So the number is probably even bigger than that. That's how many people have filed for divorce. 70% of those people were women. 70% of those women. 70% of those divorces were women. Mute your mic, you guys. Please mute your mic if you're talking in the background. 70% of those divorces were women, and a high percentage of them were educated women. Now, my question to the panel is, why do you believe, because that's the question of the day, why are divorces failing? Why do you believe that the divorce rate is as high as it is, and why do you believe that 70% of these divorces are initiated by women, and a large percentage of it is educated women? Not taking shot at women, because I'm a woman myself. I'm just reading you the statistics. You can look it up yourself. If you don't believe me, it's out there. Now let's go to the panel, and I want to hear what you guys have to say. So, Brother Ron, you want to be the first to speak on this issue?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, you can. You can't hear me?
I can hear you. Who's speaking?
Oh, this Brother Ronnie.
Okay. So do you want to? Oh, we have two Brother Rons on. But yeah, you can tackle that.
Okay.
Do you want to tackle that question?
Well, that's a big question to answer. But I think that the main reason why, like you said, 70% of women initiate divorces is because in most marriages, nobody is playing the role that they're supposed to play. So, like, women are not doing what they're supposed to do, and men are not doing what they're supposed to do. And it's a lot of, variables that go with that, but, and I could be all day talking about that. But the main thing is that in the body of Messiah, in marriages, we just are not playing the proper roles that each one of us should be playing. So that's what I would say, and somebody else can kind of break it down a little bit more.
Okay, so you're saying your position is that women and men are not playing the role that they're supposed to be playing in their marriage, and because of that is causing the conflict, which is causing 70% of women to file for divorce.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I respect that view. I'm okay. I can see that. But the question next, and I'm not gonna ask anyone to address it unless you want to. I would say, what are these roles you're talking about? But before we get into that, I want to hear what some other people have to say. So, Stanley, do you want to tackle the question? Why is it over 600,000 people have filed for divorce this year, and 70% of them being women? Why do you think that is?
Can you hear me? Let me make sure I can be heard.
You can be heard.
Perfect. Well, I definitely believe that that it's a cultural thing that's happening. What I mean by that is, in the time of the baby boomers, marriage was definitely was pretty much role oriented. The wives had practically fulfilled their position as wives, and as well as the husbands, they played their role as the husbands, and that's the reason why a lot of marriages were strong at the time of the baby boomers. But the problem is the baby boomers themselves, they were kind of inspiring the next generation females to be a little bit more independent. And they did it for the reasons in their mindset was just to make sure that they don't have to be so dependent upon a husband, that if the husband go rogue, that they still be okay. They would not be in a situation of doom and gloom. You know what I mean? And because they were giving that advice, the inverse aspect of it that they didn't realize was they're not going to respect the male position, the females won't respect the male's image anymore. And what that in turn is that even though there's a marriage here, the mindset has a prenuptial agreement of I can leave anytime I please mindset. If things does not make me happy, if I'm no longer happy, I'm going to leave. So it's more of a prenuptial security that the baby movers gave the next generation, that mindset where it'll be easy for them to file for a divorce. So even if there's a slight struggle, whether it's in the bedroom, whether it's just even infidelity, at a slightest edge, immediately there's a checkout. As opposed to the time of the baby boomers, those problems existed at the time, which they did exist. They still fought to keep the marriage together, and that fighting aspect of it tend to have been lost when the prenuptial thought process has been injected into the minds of the children. That's my understanding of it.
I think you brought up an excellent point, because one of the things I was going to mention next, I looked up one of the top reasons why women are filing for divorce, and the top 3 reasons that came up based off of a lot of studies, women are they have less tolerance for unacceptable behavior, and that was listing as infidelity, disrespect, like a lot of different things. Like they do not have the tolerance for it, like at all. Just the slightest, like you said, you hit it on the head when you said the slightest. Like, oh, no, that's it, I'm done. And they don't have that urge to fight anymore. And I think a lot of people are in this fairy tale idea thinking that marriage is like buttercups and rainbows. Like, they think of that wedding moment, how beautiful it was, and the music and the dancing. They don't realize that a marriage is work. It's not easy. It's work. Yeah, so you hit that on the head, Stanley, when you said, like, the slightest thing, they ready to check out. Ron, do you want to hit on that, and then we'll get some ladies' thoughts on this? Ron, do you want to say anything about over 600,000 people, or anything that Stanley might have said you want to point out? I got Ron, and I got a brother Ronnie. I want to talk to Ron. You out there? Can you hear us? I think he might be muted. Try to talk now. I think you were muted.
Yes, I do agree. I think the roles have kind of been mixed up, and I think that has something to do with it. But what I would say, I like to focus on the solution. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay, so I would say the solution. I've been married about 11 years with my lovely wife, and we have 7 children. I would say that when we first got married, it was kind of tough as far as the communication part, like when we have issues, because, both of us was, I guess, um was emotional when we're angry with each other, and so we didn't know how to communicate good, and we started to build. Thank God we started to build tolerance and I'll say more respect for each other, and started realizing that we had to communicate better. So and now I feel like I've been married to my best friend. So I would say maybe communication will have a lot, that would save a lot of marriages if people knew how to communicate better. When they're going through issues, just have more tolerance, have more sympathy, and just try to work it out instead of just giving up on marriage. I'll say that.
Yeah, some good points. I like that. Any sisters want to chime in? We heard from the brothers. Any sisters?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Oh.
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, me or yeah, you can go first. No problem. I'll mute.
Oh. Okay.
Well, I was trying. I don't know if can you guys hear me? I don't know if you can hear me. I've been trying to chime in a few times. Am I being heard?
Yes, you're being heard.
Yeah,
you got the floor if you want it.
Okay.
It's up to you, and Judith can go next.
Okay. Well, my name is Hadassah. I won't go through the whole introduction thing since I'm so late. I also have something I wanted to say about the contract regarding marriage, but I don't want to go back unless you guys want to do that. But as far as this question in particular, I like to attribute the psyche. And this is a problem that I feel like will only continue to get worse if we don't correct modern dating. I think modern dating has a very profound impact on the way marriages last these days, because it basically sets us up for divorce. Like little girls all the way into teenagers, into young adults, they get into the habit of, oh, I like this person, and not just the women, the men as well. I like this person, I'm dealing with this person, even having intercourse with this person, doing all of these things, but then the slightest thing happened and I don't like you, I'm going to date and try out somebody else. And so subconsciously, we are preparing ourselves for something that is short term, instead of the ideals that no matter what happens, whoever I'm paired with, no matter how we're paired, this is a lifelong thing that I have to fight for. And I think that is a major reason why the numbers are continuing to increase, especially with women being the ones initiating that divorce, because we didn't have that privilege before.
But now we
that
do. You brought up something. There's a study actually out there that says that when women have had more than 5 partners, they are more likely to not stay in a marriage. More than 5 partners. So think about that. And I think it has a lot to do with that, the way that we are made and created. What we were made for. We're more emotional creatures. We're very detailed, sometimes too detailed. And I think that when we're allowing all these different men to come in on us, like you said, you going on this day, and then this day, and then this day. We letting all these different men come in on us. Then we finally say, okay, I'm going to get married. It's like it's easy for us to snap that disconnect because we have done it so many times. Though you may have never been married, but the fact that you're laying down with this man, you're allowing him to come into you, you're even procreating sometimes with these other men, and then you're going off to get married and you're wondering why it's not working. So I think you brought up a really good point about the psyche. Like, it is important. I don't agree with dating at all. Like, I don't think, to be honest with you, my thing is, I think we should go back to where the parents are like really helping the child find a mate. That's just me, but I know we're not in that day and age anymore, and people are doing their things. But I agree with you. We got to cut that modern day dating out. Like, that stuff got to stop. So I'm definitely on that point. I want to hear from Ariel though, real quick, and then we'll get to Avanisha and the other people. I want to hear what you have to say, Ariel, about so far what you've been hearing.
Okay, cool. So why our marriage is failing, and that is a very nuanced question. you can't narrow it down to one thing. I believe if you do the research, you'll see that, like you said, there's different reasons why women are divorcing. Some women are divorcing because they're being cheated on. Some women are divorcing because they're being disrespected or abused. Women are divorcing because of abandonment. Women are divorcing because men aren't providing how they said they was going to provide. It's like a lot of empty promises in a relationship. So there is a ton of reasons why marriage is not working in society, and we can't just put our finger on one thing. I think what the statistics will show you is that a lot of women are divorcing over financial issues. So that's like one of the main things. I believe if you was to look it up, like women are divorcing because of financial issues, and then there's another one, irreconcilable differences, right? When people get unhappy, they just divorce because, like you said, there's no tolerance for the hardships in the marriage. There's no tolerance for, going through tough situations. So, with that being said, it's just too nuanced. It's just too nuanced to put your finger on one thing. But if there is something we can do, it is get back to the roles that the Most High has defined for us, because like Brother Stanley said, or one of the brothers said, that the roles are being mixed up, the roles are being confused, and they're just being too loose. Right now we don't understand who's the head, we don't understand who is in a position of leadership, we don't understand how to lead, right? And it's just so much you can put your fingers on and talk about. So I think I'm gonna leave it right there. It's just too nuanced to pick one thing. Thank you.
Yeah, I like what you said when you were saying that there's so many things, and it's not one thing that you can put your finger on, which is true because there are a lot of things. But since we can't put our finger on like one thing, and we still want to try and, get the conversation out there, this is what I propose, right? I think Stanley hit it on the head from the very beginning. He said there's no tolerance. Because what I'm learning through my own marriage was that the husband that I married over a decade ago and the husband that I'm with now, he's not the same person. And the woman he married a decade ago and the woman that I am now is not the same person. Now, I'm not telling anybody if somebody's beating you upside the head to say, okay, they'll stop beating me one day. We're not talking about that. Like if you're in a relationship with someone that's physically abusing you or anything like that, then you need to be safe. Like your life is important. Okay, I'm not saying you stay with a person. No, I gotta stay because he's my husband. If someone's about to take your life, pack it up and go. Like that's just me. Get counseling, get some kind of help, but don't stay in an environment where your life is in jeopardy. I would never promote that. So I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is there are going to be times where you don't like the person that you're with. It's the reality of it. And like Stanley said, there's no tolerance. So everything that you point out, Ariel, you talked about finances, you talked about empty promises, you talked about cheating, all these things. All these things, though they are wrong and though they shouldn't be done, you have to build tolerance for those things. I'm not saying allow it to happen. I'm not saying sit back and say, I'm going to be with a man that never has ambition. I'm not saying that. But the moment you decided to build a covenant with this brother under the Most High, you said, this is who I'm going to be with. Just because he can't financially support you in the way that you want, that is not a reason to walk away. It's no tolerance anymore. A lot of women, and I hear this from even women that I know, they just don't want to go through it. They feel as if they can do better. They feel as if I don't deserve this. And not that I'm trying to say that brothers get a pass and the brothers out here just doing a great job, because they're not doing a great job either. They're out here running through these women, taking advantage of them, using them, creating babies out here with a bunch of different women. But my point that I'm trying to make is that I believe one of the biggest issues is the roles are being mixed up, like you said, and there's no tolerance anymore. It's like as soon as something happens, I'm throwing in the towel. I can get somebody else. I don't have to put up with this. And I think a lot of it has to do with finances too, because females are now in the position where they don't feel like they need a man, even if they don't have a great job. Because if you look up how much do women make in the United States on average, it's in the 30,000s. That's not enough to put up for retirement. That's not enough to take care of your family. I don't care where you live. You could live in the boondocks of Georgia. You still are going to struggle. But they have government assistance. They have child support. They have Medicare. They have all these things they get to where they feel, I don't need to have a man. I can just go, the government can be my man. So I think that's another issue as well. With that being said, I know Avenetia wanted to speak, so you have the floor if you like, Avenetia.
Oh yeah, so here is my take on it, and I don't know, my AC is running rampant, but here's my take on it. I've heard a lot. I agree with everyone's point of view at this point. Yes, women are, going to school, they're getting their higher education, and everything. That's definitely an issue. On top of that, the roles, I heavily agree with that, because I just go back to the whole Adam and Eve in the very beginning, and you know what I mean? Once he got the field thing down pat, he was blessed with a wife. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where she was a helpmate. She wasn't the one, leading the job. She was aiding the husband within the job, that whatever he's doing. You know what I mean? So she was aiding him. She was helping him. She was not taking over the job, if that makes sense. And I believe that because women are growing, getting their education, they're getting ranks, a woman can work any type of job. I mean, I've seen women in construction boots. You know what I'm saying? And those are roles that I feel still personally to this day, that there are certain things that men should be doing, and there are certain things that women should be doing, and then I think it will balance. There'll be some type of balance and order. Now, also, to add insult to the injury, I mean, if you know that you're dating, like you said, dating is a little bit tricky, but one thing about it is, if you are dating someone, you need to know what their plans are, like what are they doing currently right now, and where do you fit in as a woman with what they already have going on, not going against what they have going on, but are you going to be able to help them, aid them with whatever project they're already in tune with, like what are they doing? You know what I mean? If this guy is running a business or a certain type of business, are you going to be able to help, keep the business afloat and do the things in the background to help the business be successful? Are you going to use your higher education to aid in what your future husband is already doing? And that's how you become a stronger unit. But if one person is doing something and then the other one is doing something completely different, you know what I mean? You guys have different viewpoints, different things you want to do instead of working together. It's bound to kind of, rip apart at some point because you guys are both, doing two different things. And I think that's where it comes also being unequally yoked. I think it has a lot to do with that as well. Like where do you fit in this man's, job description? Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, if you're a woman and you make $100K a year or whatever the case may be, and you're dating someone and he may make $40K a year, and if we're talking about finances, are you willing to make that sacrifice to join on the bandwagon with him? Or you should be choosing, to pretty much date someone who you'll be interested in what they're already doing, what their goals are, what their future looks like. Even starting from the present and not really falling in love with necessarily potential, like what are they doing right now? And, how do we become this dynamic partnership, and how am I going to help you? Where do I fit in with aiding you with what you already have planned? Okay, do you just want me to stay home and cook and do those things, homeschool the kids? Where do you fit in to what that man is already doing as the leader, so you can be the helpmate, and then you can build, because it's very difficult, I think, to leave a situation if you guys are on the same page with everything, including finances, including how you guys are building your home and everything else. And it just becomes more of a balance when the woman gets on board with the man. And if you're a woman who you looking at this guy and he doesn't really have, he's not going in the direction that you would want, it's best for you not to really deal with that guy because you're not going to be able, you shouldn't jump into a situation with potential and try to change that person. If he's an artist and he wants to paint, you know what I mean? And you feel like, oh, you need to get another job. If you feel that way, then you should not be dating that person. You should not be thinking about a long-term future with that person if you're not interested in what they have going on currently.
I like a lot of points that you brought up, but I have to say one thing about something. I agree that we are the man's helpmate. I 100% agree with that. That's what we're here for. We're supposed to. That's what I do for my husband, and I'm his helpmate. Sometimes he calls me his secretary. Feels like let my secretary know. And I like when he says it. I feel pride. I'm like, that's right. I'm your secretary. That's right. So I feel good.
Right.
I love serving my husband. I love supporting him. I love being there for him. But this is what I want to point out, and a lot of women complain about this. They submit to these men. There's a lot of women that do it, and these men are out of order. I'm not trying to say every man out there because I got a good one now. That's not what I'm saying. But these women are getting with these men. Let's say a woman does make $100,000 and another man makes $50,000, and he says, you know what? I want you to stay home more. I don't want you working this long job. We have kids, and people need to spend time with the kids. Da 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 da. And then she goes and she does that. Let's say that this man is someone that's not a man of God, that doesn't have the morals and values that you have, and now you find yourself where you're financially in debt. You can't even afford to be on your own anymore. You're struggling. Let's say he becomes abusive. Now you feel like you're stuck. You see what I'm saying? So I think it goes back to what you were saying about if this person isn't currently on what you're on, then you shouldn't even get yourself involved. For me, I tell women all the time, you want a man that loves God and serves God, not believes in God. I'm not talking about somebody that says, I believe in God and I go to church. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a man that truly, I'm not talking about that because women say that. I want a man of God. Do you know what a man of God looks like? Like, you want a man that truly lives his life in servitude of serving the Most High. Like everything he does, from working to the choices in his home, everything is in servitude of the Most High God. If you could find a man like that, well, you don't have to find him because the Most High will send him if he's yours. And you pray for him. God will work it out. You serving him. You put him first. These things will come to pass if it's his will. My thing is, you don't have to worry about none of these things. You don't have to worry about him abusing you. He's not going to be perfect, but God's gonna straighten him up. You don't have to worry about if he's sleeping around with women. You know why? Because he don't want to be disappointment to God. He's not gonna go out there sleeping with a whole bunch of women because he loves you so much. That's why he don't do it. No, he doesn't do it because his father wouldn't want him out there sleeping with all these women. That's why he doesn't do it. So I feel like as women, we should be looking more into that area. Like I want a man like that, a man that is a representation of our Father. That's the goal I think women should be looking for. But with that being said, I know it's a couple people I didn't hear from. I don't know, Brother Stanley, you want to speak? You've been quiet for a little bit. You still there, Stanley? Okay.
Oh, yeah,
I think
I'm so sorry. Can you guys
that's okay. Yeah, we hear you now. I want to know, do you want to talk on the topic?
Oh, well, as far as the infidelity from men, like sleeping with many women. I missed that last point because I spoke before.
Okay, so
is there anything new that came up?
Well, no, we talked about roles, about the different roles, and we were talking about women basically, being a man's helpmate. The roles came up a lot, so let's just get into that because that was the next thing I wanted to talk about. I want to hear from the brothers when we talk about roles, right? What's a woman's role? What's a man's role? I want to hear from the brothers. What does a marriage look like? Everybody's in their right position. What does that look like?
Well, according to the scriptures, we read that there's a hierarchy, and the hierarchy is definitely God, the Most High, and then Jesus Christ, the husband, the wife, and then the children. That's the hierarchy. And if the hierarchy stays in place and we're all one, from God to children, the marriage, in fact, the entire ministry will be successful. But when we now words like submissive becomes a negative terminology in our modern day time period, not realizing that submissiveness is actually a very powerful role because it shows that there is a connection between the head and those that the head are leading. The children are also supposed to be submissive to the parents. It's not negative. It's supposed to be the way things flow in order for success to be possible. So when I go to a 9-to-5 job and I'm working and I have a manager above me, or there's a CEO and there's somebody under that, like a vice president and so on, there's no debate on this idea because it's understood success could only be possible in these kinds of environments. But when those that are in the submissive role tries to usurp, like if a child tries to usurp the parent's role, the house will fall. And in any position, if I try as a husband to usurp Jesus's role, the house will fall. So this is in any position. In any position, if we understand our role and give 100% in our role, then success is only possible. Now, my role as a husband of that home, I am put there by the Most High, and also accepted by my wife and her family to follow a particular position. It's a position. All right. In that position, I have to make sure that the income is manageable and it is flowing continuously, and that the children also honors their mother and the father and understand that she is their manager and and she has a sole authority over them, and she also is responsible of teaching the children and making sure that they are understanding God's ways, whether it's in health, it's in mind, it's in scriptures, and understanding obedience. So in also that when the husband is also serves properly, but yet the husband can show the example of serving as well. He can serve children and serve the wife, to show an example like Jesus did when he served the apostles. Nothing wrong with doing that as a leader. It shows the proper that those who serve are classified as the greatest. So these kinds of things, that if we properly show scriptural activity and scriptural walk, the house could only be successful if we follow those examples. I know there's a lot more to say to that. It's not as easy to say it in the 2 seconds, but hey, that's the best I can say in a little short time.
Oh no, you were perfect. I'm gonna tell you what I heard to just wrap it up. I heard that basically, if a man is obedient to his head and is an example to that woman, and that woman is obedient to her head and is an example to them children, and the children is obedient to their head, everything lines up perfectly.
Well, there we go. You said it even better.
Like all serving, we're serving each other. That's what I heard. Like I heard basically like we're all in servitude of something, and together it all lines up perfectly. But you know what? This is what I want to say to you, Stanley. What about those women that come up in a home where their father's not there? They've been raised by their mama or their grandmama. Then they go and they have children, and those children are raised up by their mamas and grandmamas. And then they go and find this man, and then they get married. And remember, they're used to seeing their mama and grandmama and them calling the shots, making certain decisions, doing certain things. And this person truly does believe in the Most High, and she's doing her walk and trying her best, but she's having a struggle with the role. Like, she's so used to seeing it a certain way, and now she's finding herself in a marriage where this man is in perfect alignment with the son. What do you say, like, in a marriage like that? Because there's people that have broken up over things like this. Like, what would your advice be for, like, a dynamic like that?
premarital counseling. Well, if they're already in the marriage, then they need counseling. They definitely therapy is very, very, very vital in these concepts, because the thing is, we're walking into an institution not understanding the kind of mindset that we're supposed to have entering in. That's like going into the sea without scuba divers and things to bring in extra air with air tanks that we need in order for us to make it under the sea, because we can't breathe the way we breathe in this air outside the water, the way we can do in the water. There's a breathing mindset that we should have when we're entering into the marriage water. It's completely different breathing cycle as a single life. But you see, we're coming in with a single mindset into a marriage union. You cannot walk in as you cannot be a married single person. It's not logical. It's a completely different technicality. The mindset should change, and the only way that can change is if they have therapy. Now, therapy from whom? It's not enough to just get therapy. Well, I got some kind of therapist. From whom? I think we need more licensed biblical therapists.
Yep.
Biblically based therapists that are licensed. We need to promote that. Is because that will definitely, the more we have that in place, the more marriages should be encouraged to go see these individuals to help their business, of course, but at the same time to help the marriage union as well. Because the marriage needs it, especially today in a modern marriage. Step number one, these individuals that are licensed should help them to understand. You may be God-fearing, yes, but let's take it a bit further. Let's make sure that the world's philosophy did not creep into your godly understanding as well. Because sometimes we can go into the scripture with the world's philosophy contact lenses, looking at the scriptures. So we don't see the scriptures as is. We only see it it's filtered by the way the world is telling us to look at the scriptures. So in our minds, we are godly, but technically we're not. We never really looked at the scriptures and we're following it the way it's supposed to be, because we're still filtering in from the way the world is saying. Well, that's the reason why we're able to see things that's not even there. We're interpolating ideas and that's not even there. Why? Because we're being filtered by the world's philosophy.
And not the Holy
Ghost. Because we are not the Holy Spirit. And that's the problem. So if we get therapy, premarital counseling, which is what my wife and I did. We went through premarital counseling, but that it helped us. And he was a pastor. It did help because what he kept it scriptural, and he'd have us do things. He'd have to say things. He met with us privately sometimes, but we kept going every week. We were very faithful at that. We paid him the fee. I think it was $7 a visit for an hour. And we went out there. He had us do some work, like to ask certain questions throughout the week on how what if we manage finances together, how we supposed to handle it, do we communicate before we act on the finances, or after we act on it, do we speak about it? Hey, I just spent the money on such and such. If we practice taking on a bill, and how do we handle that? There's a lot of different things. And they did a ton of scenarios and hypotheticals was created ahead of time. Now keep this in mind, we're not married yet. So then he's been married many years, and he's also counseled multiple marriages. So he knows all the problems that generally marriages go through. But the people that are not coming into it, we don't know what we're heading for. So what he's doing for us, he's giving us all the issues, the common issues that a lot of people go through. So therefore, when this young couple enter these issues, they will not go in there surprised. They'll be there a little bit more fortified, knowing what to do and how to do things and what to say and what not to say, because they're prepared for it. But a lot of young people today are not going through that because they have not been counseled. They have not had therapy. And so if a woman that's been raised by a single mother, That's a tough situation for a child to be in because she didn't have no disciplinary man there to show how things are. How is she going to respect the image of the male when she's married to one? She happens to be heterosexual, praise God.
To it. Or even be used to it, Sam. Yeah. Sometimes you're not even used to a man, because sometimes I don't like to say that men are aggressive. I don't like to use that. I think they're just straightforward with a lot of things. And sometimes it can come off a little heartless, and it's not that they're being that way. It's just, at least with my husband, he's always like black and white, up and down. Like, it's just like, go up, go down, that's it. Go left, go right, that's it. This is blue,
we think
that's
differently.
Blue. Like, yeah, and for me, I'm like, okay, but, blue has a lot of different shades. You got baby blue, and then you got, so if you don't approach me like that, I feel as if you're not taking it seriously, and if we're not used to that as women, we're not used to seeing a man behave that way and react that way. When it happens, we take it as it being a negative thing, or he doesn't care, or he does, or whatever. However we put it in our mind, we're just not used to it. And like you said, I think you brought up a good point. Speaking to someone that can actually sit down with you and help you understand these things before you even get to them, I think that's really, really good advice.
Yeah, therapy is very important. Therapy and counseling, for sure.
Yeah, we did that. And my husband did that before we got married. We did the same thing like you said. It was a pastor. We went to him every week. It was the same thing. We had to do the little work and the little test. And the thing is, it never stops. This idea that you just did it in the beginning, the work continues. When you're married, the work doesn't stop before you go to the counseling in the beginning and you did some work and now you got it all figured out. No, it doesn't work that way. It continues. Work continues. You continue. It never stops. And if you really want to be in this thing, like you say you do, you got to realize it's work. It's not a fun vacation. It's work. Are there good times? Of course. Wonderful times? Yes. It's nothing like being with someone that you feel is your soulmate or your best friend. It's nothing like that feeling. Feeling safe. Me as a woman, because of my husband, I feel safe. I feel protected. I feel comfort. I don't worry about anything. I don't worry about nothing. He has provided me a very comfortable life, happy life. He takes good care of us. When he makes decisions, though I don't like them, I trust him so much that it's like, oh, God got it, and God's with him. We're good. And God seems to just keep leading the way. So it's a great feeling, and we did get counseling as well. So I think that's some really good advice. Anyone else have anything they want to add to what Stanley said?
I want to say something.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Victory. Yes, Victory.
Yes. Oh, the only thing I wanted to say is I think everybody on the platform, on the call right now, said exactly what needed to be said, you know what I'm saying? Because everything actually makes sense according to the scriptures. I want to say one of the main factors of divorces is I feel like it's because lawlessness. We're in a time of lawlessness, just like the Bible, the scripture says. And lacking God in your life and lacking the understanding of God himself, because if you get to know God, or the wife and husband really get to know God as they should, then in the scriptures they'll tell you how to go about any conflict. And as far as the women, who make the more money than the guys, and then they eventually divorce them, is because the roles, just like one of the brothers said, everybody's playing different roles here, and a lot of women, they don't know their place, and the man is supposed to be the head, of the household. So despite if the woman is making more money than him, he's still the head. And some women, because they don't have the tolerance, and because they're making so much money, they're like, one little mistake that the husband did, or let's say he goes out there and mess around with another woman, that gives them ground, the woman, for divorce, which actually that's really not what it is. If a guy go out there and mess around with another woman, that doesn't give a woman the grounds to divorce at all, to be honest with you, especially if the marriage did the right way in the covenant under God, So I think it all depends on just basically knowing God, knowing the scriptures, and having respect and tolerance for each other, and time.
Yeah, I think you brought up a good point. I just wanted to share something real quick with my marriage. When me and my husband got married, I had already had 3 children. He had no children. And when he came in like, okay, this is what's gonna go down. He's not the type of man to let anybody basically just run all over him or force him to do anything that he feels is not right or goes against the Most High. So when he came in like, okay, this is how we set it up, this is how we're doing it. And I struggle with that. I struggle because remember, I'm a single parent. I have children already. You know, I'm used to doing things a certain way, and then this man just gonna come in here and just start trying to tell me this, that. And the thing is, I'm not gonna lie, I was rebellious. Now that I'm looking back at it, I was rebellious. And the Most High was dealing with me because he'll say one thing, I'll do the opposite, and then something bad will happen to me. Like literally, that was the order in which it went. So God had to like really deal with me. So on top of counseling, also, I think it was Ariel. Was it Ariel or Stanley? One of you guys brought it up about, we have heads, right? So I feel like when my husband was trying to lead me a certain way and I was being rebellious against it because of my past experiences, it's like the Most High was spanking me, like he was dealing with me. And I feel like the Most High does the same thing with the man as well. When he's not doing what he's supposed to do as a leader, I feel like the Most High will spank him as well. So on top of counseling, also having your faith in the Most High and really serving him like you're supposed to and putting him first over your marriage, over everything, like he comes first, I feel like that's a good guide for you. And it's a good lesson. I think he will guide you and help you along the way to fight and continue to grow in your marriage. I want to hear from Ron. Do you have anything you want to add to the conversation? Because we haven't heard from you.
Okay, cool. What was the overall question? I kind of got lost in it. My bad.
It's okay. So we pretty much answered that question. The next thing that I wanted to hear from the guys, and the reason I want to hear from the guys is because there are women out there that are making complaints against men, and I wanted to know what would your response be to these women. So these women that are getting divorced, Ariel even brought it up. He said a lot of them are because of finances. A lot of them are empty promises, infidelity. He said it himself, is no one place you can point and say this is it. So many different layers, right? And he's true. And we don't have time tonight. We're not doing that tonight. We can't go over everything. So I'm just pointing out a few things. There was a survey that was done. And this survey that was done, it was actually from a law firm, a very major law firm. And what they did was they took all of their cases and they categorized the divorces and what the women were saying. And the women were saying 3 things. These 3 major things kept coming up. They either felt stifled in the marriage, they felt that the men were emotionally unavailable, like they felt like they had to carry the marriage emotionally for both parties, and they also felt like they weren't able to tolerate any type of unacceptable behavior at all, whether it's infidelity, yelling, whatever. Like they're not willing. Now, we talked about the tolerating part, but the part that I want to know is what would you say about these women that are saying, or what would you say to the men that are do you think this is true, that women do feel stifled in a marriage, feel suffocated, they feel like their voice is not being heard, and women are also feeling like men are emotionally unavailable. They don't express their feelings enough, and things of that nature. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I have to say, I could speak for black people. I would say, our people, and I would say, particularly what I went through, and what a lot of people I grew up around went through. I would say a lot of it because a lot of us grew up in single homes, and particularly growing in. Okay, y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll say growing up in a single parent home, particularly being raised by just like somebody brought up mostly their mothers, and the woman not having help. So the thing is, if we gotta be honest, both of us have roles to play in these marriage being broken and these broken homes. And of course, the men, of course, should take the brunt of that because we're supposed to be the leaders. And so a woman coming into a marriage and they didn't have that male figure as the father, we need to basically work and pray on that. And even the male, like not having probably not having a male in that house and not knowing how to really be a husband or really be a father. We need to pray on that and know that both of us have to have patience and speak about these issues and speak about these things even before we get married. Because I remember when my mother got married, and of course it wasn't to my father, and I basically purposely was giving my stepfather hell, because I felt like he wasn't my father, and he was, I don't know what it was in my mind at that time, but I gave him hell basically. It was bad, and and sometimes being married people, we don't think that it affects our children, them being raised without a father or mother, and it does. Even I remember me even turning 18, and I grew up a bad neighborhood. A lot of my friends dying. I was like, man, I made it. I said to myself that day when I turned 18, I made it to 18 without my father. You see what I'm saying? So we need we need men to step up. Of course, we need women to step up, and these men gotta understand, especially if they wife or they wife to be grew up without a father, without a male figure, that they may not trust a man like that easy, So we gotta have patience with each other. We gotta talk with each other. We gotta go to counseling, and we shouldn't just give up like that. A marriage is a fight. A relationship is a fight, and well, of course we gotta pray. That does work. I know me and my wife, we pray together. It keeps us together. We're strong, and that's what I gotta say.
Thank you. Aria, I haven't heard from you in a while. You want to respond?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I want to hear what you have to say. I haven't heard from you in a while.
Okay. So when it comes to, are we talking about relationship solutions right now, or are we addressing a specific reason why women?
Yeah, we're talking
Okay.
about, we were talking about the women's complaints that they're having about men not being emotionally. The solutions I wanted to get towards the end, but if you want to address it, you can. But we were talking about like women complaints, about them complaining about men being not emotional, not being easily, like we can't seem to get any true emotions out of them. We feel stifling in marriages and things of that nature. Like, how would you address a woman or even a man that may be having a woman feel that way, and what are some solutions to that?
Okay. Yeah, sure. So when it comes to communication in a marriage and women feeling like they're not heard, they feel like their voice doesn't matter, they feel like they're being disrespected, there's a lot of responsibility on both sides when it comes to that, and the majority of that falls on our sisters because self-esteem starts with self, right? So we gotta be able to grow ourselves. Our women have to be able to grow themselves, right? If a man is working a lot and she feels like she's home a lot, she feels like she's not heard a lot, it's not that him working too much is the problem. We would have to figure out why he's working so much. If they are behind in debt and he's working so much because the bills are crazy, he's trying to pay off a ring, he's trying to pay off a wedding, he's trying to save for future, then of course he's going to have to work a lot because he has so many responsibilities on his plate. And when it comes to our sisters and they're feeling not heard, it's something that they have to deal with within themselves. They have to learn to manage their time and manage themselves when he's not away, so that when he does come home, she is ready to receive him, she is ready to love on him, she is ready to encourage him, and they're ready to help each other, right? Because once he comes home, they have to be willing to then work together, right? They're doing their own individual jobs. She's in the house or she's at work and he's at work. And then when they come home, now they have to work on each other. Now they have to work on the marriage. Now they have to, focus on personal development. That's why I believe personal development is so key, because it helps us to point out our insecurities. It helps us to point out our flaws. And not only that, we also learn to have communication skills, right? Communication is a skill that needs to be taught, and it needs to be repeated on a daily basis. In order for you guys to be successful in your communication, you need to know the words that are triggering to her and the words that are triggering to him, so you guys know not to cross those boundaries, and you guys know when to be sensitive to each other, you know when to be vulnerable, you know when to be transparent, and you know to be honest and tough, straight to the point, right? Because men are lions and lambs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the man being a lion and a lamb, he has to focus on knowing when to be tough, when to be straightforward, when to be aggressive, and then he also has to know when to be sensitive, when to be vulnerable, when to be transparent. So personal development is key when it comes to our sisters not being heard in their marriages or feeling disrespected. It definitely has to go back to self-esteem. And for us to get into that, it'd be really nuanced. We have to figure out what is she dealing with, how is she dealing with it, what caused it. Is there some emotional traumas from different relationships or past childhood that she's bringing into this marriage? Is it some learned behaviors from her husband that he learned in the hood to be tough, to be aggressive, to always, step on people, to always, force his way through things? And now is he bringing that same mentality to his soft, sensitive, and vulnerable wife, which would be a question. So there's definitely a lot of accountability on both sides when it comes to men and women marriages being successful. And I'll land right there. Thank you.
That was deep. Y'all heard that? See, this is actually being recorded, and it's going to be shared. So everybody on the panel, everyone that's going to be planning on listening to this later on, y'all better be taking these gems right now, because that was the point of this whole podcast. We got Ron, Ronnie, Stanley, we got Ariel, we got Ebony. We got these people on here dropping gems. They're dropping gems. With that being said, Judith, is the couple on here that you were telling me about that been married for a long time, since we're getting to that point where we're about to wrap it up? I think it's been a lot of good information that's been out. I think that you guys need to take this advice, because like you said in the very beginning, those that were there, it's our communities that are suffering, our children that are suffering. You heard even from Ron talking about growing up and not having his dad there, and then the stepdad coming in. Just all of these things, it's messing us up. We're growing up. Even Ariel hit on it. We're going in. We got self-esteem issues from past stuff, and then we're just ruining ourselves. We're ruining our children. Now our children are growing up, continuing the cycle, and it's bad. So if we don't want to do it for ourselves, at least we should do it for ourselves. But at least do it for your children and those that are coming after us. With that being said, listen to these things, man. The stuff that these brothers and these sisters been hitting on. You guys take advantage of this. Get help. Get counseling. Find someone to speak to. It's so many different outlets. You can literally go on Google and just Google it. Don't be so quick to just throw in the towel, especially when you truly do love each other, but you just have this really big disconnect going on, because it can be saved. You can get help. We just, like Ariel said, we got to identify, okay, what are the issues? What is going on? And it's not just a one-person thing. He even pointed it out, and even Ron pointed it out. The male got this going on, the female got that going on, and, you guys are coming together, and it's not working out. So with that being said, Judith, is the couple on here? Because I think it would be really good if they are. I know you said that they were married for a while. I think it would be good for them to bless us with that information. You there, Judith?
Yes.
Are they on? I'm not sure if they came in.
I can't see anything. I'm on.
Oh, yeah, okay. So if you're here, everybody's unmuted. I think you said, what was his brother's name? Brother Deacon?
Deacon and his wife.
Are you here, Deacon and his wife? Because I don't see any name by that. Deacon, nope, I'm not seeing it. Okay, well, that would have been a blessing to hear, but I think we've already dropped a lot of gems on a lot of people to help people out there that are struggling. With that being said, I want to go through the list. And I want everybody to just give us a closing statement, if possible, to share with us about, and if anybody have any questions or comments before we even get to the closing statement, does anybody have any questions or comments or anything like that they want to ask? You just hit *5 and they'll raise your hand. If not, we'll let the panel close it out with some closing statements on what they believe the issue is and what the resolution is. I think we heard pretty much a lot, but also you can give out your information because there's a lot of brothers on here and sisters on here that's doing a lot of good work, and I think that it'll be a blessing for them to be able to share the information for people to go out there. So we can start with Abenicia if you want to close it out for us.
Oh, sure. Once again, I am Abenicia Lonson, Empress _Yuri, EURY. And also, so to finalize everything, I think that if everyone plays a role in their particular role, which I agree, as a man, definitely being the head, and like the young lady said, definitely knowing when to be vulnerable with their wives and knowing when to, be firm is definitely a plus. But all in all is definitely the role. Like the woman should be the helpmate to the man and so forth. And that's my take on it. And if you can't be a helpmate to that guy, then you should, you need to get that, situated before you get married. Just really sit there and think. If you're getting ready to get married out there in the world, go ahead and think that through and say, this is what this particular guy has going on. How do I fit in? And that's definitely a good question to ask your guy. Okay? And that's all for me.
Does anybody have any questions or comments before we close it out? All you have to do is hit *5 if you have any questions or comments, or if you're already on the panel, if you have any questions or comments before we close it out, I would like to hear from anybody. With that being said, I think somebody hit. Okay, hold on. Okay, so we got a question or comment from 305-519. 305-519, you're on the line.
Hi, Christina. This is Naomi. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
So I do have a question. So what if you were, because this is past, but I was actively dating somebody. We were engaged. I was the breadwinner. I was making a little bit more money with him, than him, which became, I think, a little bit intimidating. And he was never really able to catch up with me. And then it kind of like pushed me into masculine energy. Like, what do you do with scenarios like that?
Okay, so
that's pretty. Oh, am I answering or are you answering, Sister Christina?
No, I'm not answering. I was gonna actually ask one of the brothers to answer, but if you want to tackle that, then we'll get one of the brothers in. But you can go, Abenicia, and then I want one of the brothers to tackle that question. But go ahead.
Yeah, I want to go after Abenicia.
Okay, good.
I was gonna say one of the brothers can go ahead and answer first, and I'll just follow back. I definitely want to hear what a brother has to say about that.
All right, Stanley, you got the floor.
I want to say something on that too. I want to say something on that too after Brother Stanley.
Okay, Ronnie.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, this is Brother Stanley. I want to respond to that question. It's a great question that you asked, is because that usually does follow when it comes to the finances. When in many cases, if you just think about it logically, let's bring it out of marriage and let's bring it into like a job, right? And let's say, for instance, that you are working for this individual, and this individual is your manager. And you know that your manager has a particular level of credentials. And ultimately, your credential has surpassed that individual. It's natural for you to feel like, he can't tell me what to do anymore, right? So you're going to either want to check out or try to become over him. It's a natural reaction to want to do that. And that individual, if he knows that your credential has gone past his or hers, she'll feel a little condescended or a little belittled, even though she is a little above you in that particular position. So bringing it back to the marriage, when situations like that happen, these finances are usually used for that. However, this is why I think therapy and counseling is extremely important. Because as long as we maintain our mindset to the role that we are in the home, then we'll stay focused in our duty, in our roles in that relationship. Deborah was a judge, one of the leaders of the entire nation at a time. Yet she was married, and as a wife, she still was a subordinate to her husband when it came to the home. There's a way that we have to understand how to split between what we are outside of the home and what we are in the home. Now, in a marriage, if my wife makes more than me, which happened before in my marriage, we didn't see it as she's just making more money than me. I saw it as my wife makes $70,000, I make $30,000, therefore we make $100,000. That's how we always saw it. So because of that, she was still a wife, and I was still a husband in the home. Now, and then it got to a point where she dropped her finances because my finance I had out-earned her. And then ultimately, and then we both started working. It was another time of our lives when we both made about the same money. But the point is, it didn't matter. We saw it as one financial situation. I'm still the head. And when the money goes into the pot, it's not, well, that's your money. No, it's our money that went into this one pot, and this is the way it should be managed. The wife look at it and go, okay, but what about this? That's a good point, but the problem is when you do this, this can happen. I don't agree with that. Well, I don't agree with you. We'll go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You know what? Ultimately, we're not going to agree. We're going to have to agree to disagree. Therefore, I'm the head. We go by the head. If I'm wrong, you were right. I apologize. I'm learning. But I respect that you respected the role of the wife and the duty of a wife, and you allowed me to be the head to make the decision whether it would be a mistake or not a mistake. At the end of the day, we'll eat it together, we'll win together, we'll lose together, but we will be together. And I think if we understand that good and bad, mistakes and non-mistakes, we will be together, we will learn from one another, we will respect one another. It doesn't really matter how much money one makes over the other. It's still one account. It's one financial account that's supposed to be managed in a hierarchy in this institution. It doesn't matter who brings more. And but in order for us to get that mindset, therapy and counseling is a necessity. We need somebody to have that, help us to get that mindset. The only way the masculinity portion can come onto the female and the emasculation happens to the male, that only happens when there is no guidance. That could only happen when guidance is absent from the situation. That's my thoughts. Thank you.
That was good. What you think about that? You got a few people still got some answers for you, Naomi. What you think about that so far? What Brother Stanley just dropped?
No, I really loved everything that he said, especially about having that mindset of like it's together, no matter who's bringing in whatever income, whatever amount it is, it still goes into one pot. So I really like that piece.
Yeah, I felt it too. It's like he visualized it for us. Like it was
Yeah.
a vision. Yeah, that was a good one. And you know the thing, when he said, okay, I'm the head, we don't agree, but this is what we're doing, I felt like I was swallowing a big pill when he said that. Like, I'm swallowing a big pill. because I had to do that in my marriage. Like, my husband's like, well, too bad. This is what we're doing. And I'm like, oh, but guess what? He's right. Sometimes my husband did fail, but guess what? A lot of times he succeeded. And through his failures came more success. And that's why he's where he is actually now. He did stumble here and there, but ultimately through those failures made success. And because I did do, like what Stanley said, he looked at me differently. Not just that, he valued me more. He actually valued me more because I was able to relinquish, like, hey, you're right, you're the head. This is the ultimate call, fine. He actually then started coming to me more, which was weird because what I was saying was actually the wrong thing many times. So, it actually builds. So, man, Stanley, you hit that on the head. I think we have two more people wanted to chime in on that. I think it was Avanisha and Ronnie wanted to chime in on that. You want to go, Avanisha, and then Ronnie can go after?
Real quick, Christian, is there a time limit? Like, what time you got to be out?
No,
we're
closing it up in a few more minutes. That's why I was getting the closing statements. It was actually supposed to be 8 o'clock. That's when we're supposed to close it down, but she asked the question. That's why we're going to get the question done. Hopefully it's no more, then after that we'll get into the closing statement. But, yeah, the time limit is 8 o'clock. Yes, sir. I'm sorry about that. I should have definitely told that from the beginning. So, yeah, 8 o'clock is supposed to be the time limit. So, Avanisha, you can tackle that a few minutes, and then Ronnie, you guys could probably take like 2 minutes each, and we'll do the closing statement.
I'm sorry. Actually, Stanley, I was kind of on the same wavelength. Stanley, so Stanley kind of said what I was going to say, so you guys can finish it up.
Okay. So, Avanisha, you want to add anything to it?
Yeah, I would like to definitely add. I love the guys' comment. Thank you for that comment because it's giving me the male's point of view of things. That yes, when the woman is making more than the man, she should still have a submissive spirit to that man and do what needs to be done. The only thing I would disagree with is if everybody's putting in what they should to go towards bills. It has to be, as the man, I would need, some fairness there. You know what I mean? If I want to take a girl's trip, for example, I don't want you to be like, no, you can't go. And I've been working hard for the whole year, and I've been doing everything, taking care of the family, washing dishes, clothes. I'm working the job, and I'm still coming home, and I'm still doing my wifely duties or whatever you asked of me, I don't want it to be, a little bit unfair. Like, I should be able to, do some things alone as well. Because, like you said, we have to work individually on ourselves as well. So it's some things of self-care that I may want to indulge in that I, really work hard for. I work hard for my family, but to also do some things that I like as well. Some things that I may have been doing long before you. You know what I mean? So it's just like a balance that I feel still needs to be there in order for me to still keep myself and you to still keep yourself. Like if you're a guy, you like to golf every Friday, that's your thing. I don't want to come in and say, oh, no, you need to put everything in the pot and just, no, you can't go golfing and knowing that we have enough to do that. That's your alone time. That's your time. You know what I mean? Where you go out and do what you like to do. It doesn't have to be something negative, but you're doing something positive, something that makes you happy and that, your hobby that you really like to do. So as long as we're respecting each other, hobbies as well and certain things that we like to do for our self-care, for our mental health, which is also important, I wouldn't mind, as a woman, putting in one pot and saying, yeah, I do make more, but hey, what you say does go. But can we be fair? Can I still do the things that I've been doing, or is that going to be an issue? Where does my self-care fit in as a woman so I can, keep myself up, so I'm not completely drained,
You want to
I think
that? I want to see if Sandy want to respond to that. Cause
Well,
that was
she said the only disagreement. I didn't see a disagreement. I think because I support
me
what she
neither.
said
She
too.
said balance. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to use the word
I
disagreement.
didn't
I'm
know.
so
I
sorry.
said nothing
I mean,
against the idea that you should think
Yeah,
you
because
should
that's what
have
he
a
was
girl
saying.
night.
He
You
was
should have a
saying
girl
balance.
trip. Yeah, you should have a girl trip. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, say you want to hang out with your girlfriends and you want to save and budget for that. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, my wife still has friends and she goes and she hangs out and she does that. But you know, I'm just saying that we just have to not emasculate the man, or should look, the woman should never take the role of a man. You know what I'm saying? Because it changes the balance of the situation. It may happen naturally, but again, this is where therapy and counseling can help balance the situation out, because those things naturally can happen, and we have to respect the nature of things. When a woman is going out to the workforce and she's putting in a lot of work out there, you cannot expect her to put the same amount of work in the home. There has to be balance there too. When my wife is out there working, I do the dishes. I make sure I do the dishes, and I mop the floors are mine. I mop the floor. She still does the laundry. We both work. The kid does everything else. We still have, everybody has their roles in the home and what they do. But if my wife decides, if I make enough finances to the point where my wife doesn't have to work anymore, and we spoke about, it's funny because we spoke about this today. I said, so when I start making good money for us, not making six figures again, you don't expect me to do the dishes, right? And she goes, oh, heck, you ain't doing nothing. You just gotta come home. That's what she told me. I can bring her on the phone right now. That's what she told me today.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Get it written. Get it written with his signature and notarized.
Yes.
Let me stop.
She said the only thing I expect you to do is make sure that you put your clothes in the hamper. But that's what she told me. But I'm definitely not opposed to if my wife wants to hang out with her good friend from church, and they want to hang out somewhere, they want to go to California together, as long as, hey, I trust my wife. I'm not worried about that. So, and I trust her friends, they're married women, they going out there, they want to hang out together. Yes, fine, go do your thing. I'm not against that. I ain't against that, no way. That's why I say I don't see this disagreement at all. It's a complimentary, not against anything I said. It's supportive.
Yeah, because when she was
Actually,
saying disagreement, I was getting confused. I was like, what is
it's more compliment.
You want to?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, man. So, Naomi, thank you for the question, man. I think you definitely brought some energy to the floor. I think that was the only question that we had up. Yep, that was pretty much it. So let's just get some real quick, you guys. Let's do like 60 seconds. You guys just, say what you have to say. If you want to, again, give your information out there to people so they can check you out, I really appreciate that. I know Avanisha already spoke. Ron, you have anything you want to say for closing statements? Are you there, Ron?
Oh, yeah, thank you for everybody coming in, and I thank you for inviting me in, and shalom to all you guys.
Thank you. Ariel, you're up next. Anything you want to add, or any closing statements you want to have?
Yeah, I'll be quick. My name is Ariel. You can find me on Facebook at Ariel Wagner and Ariel Inspires, Instagram Ariel Inspires, YouTube Ariel Inspires, and YouTube Ariel ABT. And I would like to recommend 3 books that I believe will be helpful to all marriages. The first one is The 5 Love Languages. The second one is Codependent No More. And the third one is Boundaries, right? So I recommend these books to all couples that you read with your significant other so you guys can grow your relationship. So Boundaries is written by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. The 5 Love Languages is written by Gary Chapman, and Codependent No More. I don't have that one, but you can just Google it, and I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find it. But I do have this one. I'll recommend this one instead. Mindset by Carol S. Dweck. Mindset by Carol S. Dweck. If you follow me on any social media platform, I'm probably going to post a video about this tonight. So with that being said, thank you for having me on the platform. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Next up, we have Judith. You want to have any closing statements, anything you want to add? Are you there, Judith? Okay, so we'll go to the next one. Ronnie, Brother Ronnie, you want to add anything to the conversation, any closing statement, any information you want to share with us?
No, not really, except, as far as marriage goes, the best place to start is before you marry the person, just know who you're marrying and, make sure that they're not a lazy person, make sure that they are basically good people, Bible believing people, and that will save you a lot of trouble if you just, don't follow your feelings and really get to know the person that you are going to marry. It'll save you a lot of heartache and pain. And that's all. And thank you for inviting me today, Sister Christina.
Oh, no, thank you for coming, man. Everybody on the panel, thank you guys all. Stanley, you want to add anything, any closing? I want to give any information to everybody so they can check you out, because you were like one of the popular ones tonight. So you want to give us some information on it?
Thank you, Sister Christina. I appreciate you inviting me, by the way. It was a very great conversation, great dialogue, great discussion, great topic. And I definitely thank everybody for coming and supporting your sister. Definitely, please continue to support her and her ministry and what she's doing to get us really talking about important things. And so, yes, again, my name is Stanley Sylvain. That's my last name is spelled SYLVAIN. You can find me on Facebook, Clubhouse, YouTube. My ministry is called Sin No More Ministries. I need to start putting in more messages and more sermons. But it's been great. I really enjoyed this. And again, my advice to all those that are considering marriage and those that are married right now is counseling, premarital counseling, or during marital counseling. Get counseling.
We talked about it.
Exactly. The thing is, problems are inevitable. Issues are inevitable. Things happen. However, we need to, make sure that your family gets involved. When I say family, if you don't have a father, then get an uncle. If you're female, get an uncle. Have them check the dude out, and have them have conversation. If you don't have no male figures in your house, get a pastor. Point is, you need a male guidance to be able to check out a good male. Sometimes you think your judgment is good enough, and trust me, it's not always that good. And for brothers out there that's checking out for the females, make sure you talk to your mom. Make sure the females check that mom out. Make sure they get along very well. Mamas know a good woman. Trust me. So, I just feel that our parents need to get involved. Our pastors need to get involved. Our uncles, our big brothers. These things are important, but make sure ultimately scripturally based views and understanding. And if you are led by the Spirit, you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Okay, that is straight up Galatians chapter 5. You could take a look at that, and it's powerful. If you follow these situations, marriages will be successful. Right now, I just want to say blessings to everybody that was able to show up. If this is recorded, then those who are listening to it afterward, blessings to you all as well. I pray that everybody's home and relationships will be blessed. I pray that everybody's finances will enhance and be full and fat. I pray that your food in the refrigerator be filled and your relationships may be beautiful and mirthful. I pray for all of these things to happen. Prosperity in every way for all of us. And if you are unhealthy in any way, I pray that God bless you in your health as well. All righty? Blessings to all. Blessings to your show, my sister Christina. And please, if you can, please invite me back, and I would love to talk again.
Thank
Ready?
you, thank you for that, Stanley. We appreciate everything that you say. You are definitely one of our heavy hitters tonight. So thank you for blessing us with all the gems you dropped for us. Everyone on here tonight. I think you guys all brought a different perspective to the conversation. And yes, this is being recorded, and we are going to try to make a video out of it. And we have a channel on YouTube. It's Christina Jean Let's Talk, and also Instagram Let's Talk _ period podcast. So you can check it out too. I'm going to have it on there as well. We're going to be meeting every Sunday moving forward. It always will be different topics. If any of you are interested in giving me any ideas or any topics that you're interested in talking about, you guys have my information. Definitely hit me up. I would love to hear from you guys. Also, if you have any young children or any women on the line, I've been doing this now for over a year. Every Saturday at 2 o'clock, I have a women's ministry that I've been doing now over a year now. It's filled with all women from all ages, and also young children are there. So if you have any young children or you have any women that are interested in coming on by, I would love for you guys to come on by. It's every Saturday at 2. And also moving forward, every Sunday, I'm planning on coming here as well. I want to thank everybody. You guys have no idea how much you guys have blessed me today. God has really put it on your heart to take your time out of your busy schedule to be here, and I appreciate it. I've been working hard on this for a while, and I had a lot of nerves, and God just kind of pushed me through it, and he sent me you guys to support me, and I just want to thank you guys. Also, I want to give a special shout-out to 3 people, because I felt like you 3 really were showing out tonight, which is Brother Ron. I felt like you were definitely dropping a lot of gems. Brother Ariel sharing a lot of information, especially with the literature that you shared tonight. I think that will help a lot of people. And of course, Brother Stanley. What does Josh say? Stanley the Manly. That's what he calls you. So thank you guys again. I appreciate you guys. It is recorded. I'll be sending you guys the link, and I hope you guys come back next Sunday. Like I said, we're going to do this every week. Thank you guys again. I love you all. And if anyone would like, I think, Ron, can you do it for us? Can you just close us out in the prayer real quick? I think that would be really appropriate, especially for everybody on the line, divorcees and everyone like that. Brother Ron, would you like to close us out in the prayer? And you there, Ron? Can we hear you?
Yeah, all right, cool. Since you put me on the spot, so all right, cool. All right. So, Father, thank you for bringing us together. I pray, Father, that you increase us and let us be led by your spirit and not our flesh. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. So short and sweet, the way I like it. All right, you guys. Good night, good night, good night. Make sure y'all come back. Thank you for the love. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.